Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone. Shout out to our producer, Ryan. First things first, big news here at Big Play. We've got an engagement.
How about that, Nick?
Yeah.
Big one.
I thought our big news was that we were running back at the Colleague Companies Championship.
Yeah. You're not scooting out of this one. That too. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that, but no.
No, seriously, congratulations. We're really happy for you.
Appreciate you guys. You guys both know Cam. You guys have both known Cam for a minute now, so it was a fun weekend. It really was.
Yeah. You guys have been together for a long time.
Yeah, 6 years. We've lived together for 3 years. Both Nordonia grads, so yeah, it was a really cool weekend. And then it went down kind of Saturday, like late morning, early afternoon, and then our we had dinner with our families, and then everybody came back to our house for desserts, and our friends came over for desserts Saturday night, and then Sunday I hosted on the radio, and then took like a 2-hour nap, and here I am now. So.
And now you enter that fun phase, wedding planning.
Yeah.
Nick, that is a whole thing. When is the date? Do you have a date
No,
yet?
no date.
Okay.
I think we'll probably do something like kind of private, like probably me and her just.
You're not
going
to
to
invite everybody?
I don't think so.
The whole Big Play crew?
It would be fun. I saw like Cody and some of the others said like it could really be like the first Big Play wedding, which was enticing.
Yeah.
But I thought like, nah, I was like, maybe we just like, we go get married somewhere and then come back and then do like a big Play party at my house or something. Yeah.
I want to see Greg Williams give a speech at your wedding. That's what I want to see happen.
Yeah, well, he texted, so I appreciate that.
Wasn't Kim a part of when we had to build that whole big stage?
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
I still hear about that on the regular. So.
Oh, yeah, because she got a stage.
She got her messed up, her Lululemon, yeah.
That's love right there.
Yeah.
Not us doing, I don't know, was that like even legal, us trying to build that stage with all the
Probably
nuts
not.
and bolts
Our
and like
bare
try not to
hands.
die during
Legendary Big Play
That's true love.
tailgates.
That's how you know it's real, her showing up and doing that.
We do have to tell the people that we're running it back this year.
Yes.
2 years in a row, Colleague Companies Championship, June 18th through the 22nd. Get your tickets, colleaguegolf.com. Firestone Country Club has been the stage for some of the greatest golfers in history for 72 years. You could see some of that history this summer at Firestone. ColleagueGolf.com. 1 ticket, 2 experiences. Not only do ticket holders get an opportunity to watch legendary golf, but they also get complimentary access to the Colleague Infinity Zone. That's where we'll be at. It's the epicenter of the off-the-course fun. Over 50,000 square feet located at the main entrance and exit of Firestone. It elevates fan experience with interactive activities, bar and lounge areas, food trucks, celebrity appearances. Once the golf ends for the day, the Colleague Infinity Zone turns into a full-fledged music festival with live performances. You want to go check them out. If you've never been, this is the summer. We want to see you guys there. We'll all be there for plenty of days throughout the week and into the weekend. ColleagueGolf.com.
Woohoo! Yeah, I'm excited. It's always a fun time, so definitely check it out. Check that website out. We have a packed show, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Cleveland headlines right after this. The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com today. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our Cleveland sports headlines brought to you by Fairway Ford.
Fairway Ford offers complete customization for any vehicle on the lot with their Fairway Black Label line. This series features custom upgrades like premium wheel and tire packages, a wide variety of level or lift kits, performance enhancements, and fully customized interior options. And every Fairway Black Label truck comes with a Rhino spray and bed liner. Whether you're looking for an aggressive off-road stance, a bold street presence, or a one-of-a-kind build, Fairway Black Label delivers. As a bonus, many of these upgrades can be financed for as little as 0% APR, depending upon the vehicle line. You dream it, they can build it. Visit fairwayfordohio.com to explore their current Black Label inventory or give them a call to start designing yours today.
Okay, guys, let's talk a little Guardians from the top here. We split the homestand versus LA teams at 3-3 there with the Angels and the Dodgers. 2 of 3 from the Angels, dropped 2 of 3 to the Dodgers. It was nice to end on a high note, though, there with the Angels. And Jose Ramirez has really stayed hot. He's now reached base 28 games in a row. I did feel bad with that 21-game hit streak. We made him our player to watch. And there's always conspiracy at the ballpark. Owen, shout out to Owen, our graphics guy.
Did you jinx him?
I asked Owen, I said, Owen, are you sure you want me to point this out in our player to watch? And he was like, well, we pointed it out for the other games of the streak. So I was like, all right, here I go. Because I don't work weekdays, so I'm back during the weekend. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be the guy. But I was the guy. And then sure enough, it ended this hit streak.
You ended it. Yeah, that's not the only thing with the in-game stuff for the Guardians right now. I don't know if you've been listening to the radio, but Tom Hamilton has put everyone there on notice because apparently the pitches are wrong that they're calling out right now. So I don't know. It's probably not your crew, but somebody over there has got to get those pitches right because Tom Hamilton is getting increasingly upset about the graphics.
At the scoreboard?
Yeah, on the scoreboard.
Yeah, he do be throwing
They call it slider, and it'd be like, no, that was a curveball. 95 miles an hour. No, it wasn't. It was 86. He was all over it. Yeah.
Yeah, he, I don't even know who controls that, if that's our direct department, but
whoever it is not on Tom Hamilton's Christmas list right now.
Boy.
I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
We got to sort that out. Don't want to make Hammy mad. Yeah, it does. It affects his job. So
the Jose hit streak was so much fun. I'm not putting the blame on Gab for it at all. The one thing that I will say is it's crazy to see him continue to do this year in, year out. I would love to try to get a World Series with Jose Ramirez on the roster. This is a guy that is going to have a statue outside of Progressive Field one day, and we'll be telling our kids and grandkids the memories of Jose Ramirez and Down Goes Anderson and all the great memories that he's given this sports city. I would love to see them get him a little bit of support. Maybe strengthen up the pitching staff. Getting Shane Bieber back will help with that. Maybe a big bona fide bat in right field could really help Jose get the job done here in Cleveland for the Guards while he's on the ball club, because he is a living legend. Every night that you are able to go out to Progressive Field, you're literally seeing a Cleveland baseball legend, and I'm at the point now where I want to win something meaningful with this guy because he means so much to our city and this organization.
Well, Nick, and you saw those veterans, kind of the old guard over the weekend, helping out, bringing us this series victory. You had Quan hitting a home run. You also had Carlos Santana swinging the bat pretty well, so hitting a home run in the game on Saturday. So it's nice to see those veterans continuing to contribute for this team. Now we'll see. We've got some tough series coming up. We got the Yankees here for a few. So it's going to be a rough time for the Guardians here. So we'll see. We'll see what this team could do.
There's some other guys starting to step up, too. I know X hasn't always been nice to Nolan Jones, but over the last 5 days, he's racked up 8 hits, 6 RBIs, 2 runs scored, including that Little League home run. That was kind of fun.
Yes.
And a 444 batting average. The other thing is Class A. People haven't been real nice to him on X either. And everyone was really worried in April. And for the month of May, we dug into Baseball Reference for this one. He's posted a .84 ERA, 7 saves, 1 earned run the entire month.
That's fantastic. And that's a guy we've been talking about a lot on this show that has to be on track for the Guardians to go anywhere. And, Nick, we're starting to see him turn a corner.
We need it. Night in, night out, you're going to get the best out of Jose Ramirez, Steven Kwan. Now the old reliable Carlos Santana's hitting the baseball as well. But it's the others. It's the other people that need to step up and help the main crew. That's what got the Guardians as far as they went last year, just 3 wins away from the World Series. That's what it's going to have to be this year to replicate that success.
Okay, and David Fry rejoined the team. It was nice to see he had net bat in the game against the Angels. How will Vogt manage him with Manzardo and Santana, you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit crowded there, right? And DH, I wonder what he's going to end up doing long term. Also wonder what we're going to do right field. So there's a lot of questions right now in that batting order for the Guardians that, fortunately, we have a lot of a season left to try and figure that out. But with these series that we've got coming up, it's going to be very important that we get on track.
It's a good problem to have. I like that David Fry is going to ease back into this thing, only DH, because of caution, with the elbow. They're not going to have him playing a position, but designated hit with the elbow. That's good news for Fry, and Santana being as hot as he is. I really think it's all a net positive, because you have to look at some of these guys that make us want to rip our hair out when they get up to the plate. Kyle Manzardo still working through some things in his game. Bo Naylor and his bat got to get above 200. Nolan Jones, we've seen the inconsistencies. So I think having some of these vets like David Fry, like Carlos Santana, contributing in the lineup on a regular basis is only going to bode well for the younger guys to learn how they go about their business.
Last thing, do you think Gavin Williams is back? He had posted and 2/3 innings pitched, only allowed 1 hit, 2 runs, no earned runs, and 2 walks. He had 6 strikeouts against the Angels. He was looking good.
It looked really good in that game. And in fact, if the defense was a little bit better behind him, we may have been talking about a no-hitter there. So really great to see that from Gavin. Somebody who we looked for coming into this season as really being an anchor in that starting rotation, and very nice pitching over the weekend from him.
I agree. The whole rotation has been a roller coaster. So the more that you could stable that thing out, the better off the Guardians are going to be.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our Garage Beer featured interview. Garage Beer is perfect for any occasion. It's small batch, no frills, no bitterness, just beer that tastes like beer. The garage is always open with Garage Beer. And now we welcome on a very special guest. We've got Cuyahoga County Executive Chris Ronayne in studio. Thanks for coming to Lakefront Airport. And we did want to get your thoughts right off the rip, considering we're on the lakefront here, and I know you're so interested in lakefront development. Your thoughts on the Browns, this saga, moving to Brook Park, and what that might do.
Start off with an easy one. By the way, I should have one of these garage beers.
Yeah, he probably has to crack one open for this.
I'm going to have one
You
later.
got a shotgun it, though. That's the
right,
rule.
exactly. Yeah, there we go. Probably 2 to start. Well, listen, first I should say it's great to be on your show. Thank you guys for having me. It's nice to get out of the county and just down to the studio here for the lunch hour. I am a Browns fan, personally. Have been for a long time. My family moved here when we were 10, and actually we stayed just around the corner from here at Berkeley Airport because they were trying to find a house. So I was at the Holiday Inn back then on Lakeside. And early on, that was the summer when we moved here. So I was going to the then Indians games with my dad, just walking across the parking lot and going to Captain Frank's. But as winter, came, we were, as kids, we were Bears fans, but we became instant converts to the Browns, and I grew up in the Cardiac Kids days, the first one, and the good old days. So right out of the gates, just wanted to say, personally, I'm a Browns fan, and as I got to high school, college, where it was the Bernie days, and we just love our Cleveland Browns. I had a summer job. I sold ice cream down at the old Muni Stadium. It was, again, the deep connections. And then in college winter break, I rolled tarps down in Berea with the team, and that was a hell of a job. It took a lot out of you. But I say all that because, lest anybody wonder, I mean, I'm a huge Browns fan like you guys are, and like our town is. So this has been a really difficult time for all of us. I think the most difficult time we've had before this was when the Browns left us, right? When they left and went to Baltimore. And I lived through that personally. So this is different. This is a regional discussion, but for a lot of us, we wonder why. We wonder why the Cleveland Browns have to leave downtown Cleveland. And we ask why not get back together with us to see what's possible. Personally, I've been involved in this conversation since I took office. It had gotten rolling prior to my getting here, but I remember a plan that was presented to me when I worked out in University Circle, a few miles from here, and literally the plan was presented by the city, and they said, "Are we worried about traffic impact on University Circle?" I said, "No, the cars are going to find its way. You guys have a spectacular plan." And from what I saw then, which was several years ago now, it was a plan to connect the downtown down to its waterfront, connect with a bridge right to the stadium, and build more mixed use entertainment and housing around the stadium. And it's a plan that to this day the public hasn't seen, and they really should. The Browns have shown their Brook Park plan, but they've never shown their downtown plan. But with that downtown plan, they had me at hello. I looked at it and I was like, this is the finishing piece. The Rock Hall got built out, Science Center got built out, and it's time to see a stadium refresh and really create a modern facility there and really leverage it to build more around the downtown harbor front. So along the way, somehow the Haslam Sports Group decided that Brook Park was their future. But it was sort of like the Jerry Maguire with the goldfish. Are you with me? And I don't think everybody was with Jimmy and Dee. And to this day, I think the majority of fans are not with the Haslam Sports Group. There are persons who make arguments about got to have a dome, and we say to that, we've presented the opportunity for the Browns to have a dome downtown. So we sort of nixed that argument. There are many who've said things will happen at Brook Park that won't happen here, and we've shown a plan to the Haslam Sports Group that says everything you want to build in Brook Park, you can build here. There's 100 acres around the stadium, north, east, and west. North because the dock's behind, and south up on Lakeside Avenue. There's 100 acres to do what you want to do here. So we say, what's not to like about downtown Cleveland? And I think what we're starting to glean is control. It's a matter of control. Is who controls the parking, who controls the profits. And for us, we're saying, the Cleveland Browns have been, first of all, as an institution, they're bigger than Haslam Sports Group. And that's why I kind of went through my own history, but anybody that's listening to this show can go through their own history with the Browns. And most of these people that can go through that were here before Jimmy and Dee Haslam arrived in this town. We have history here. We have roots here. We have a lot, of connection to the Cleveland Browns downtown since 1946. But, we can all tell our stories, but the Browns have always been, I think, as an institution, they're bigger than their owners. This is our Browns in our Browns town, and I don't think in this modern era we're in, teams nor the NFL are listening to that. Not all of them, not all owners. Many of them have reinvested in downtown. We've watched what Detroit has done with the return of the Pistons and the Lions into downtown Detroit. We've watched what Dan Gilbert's done in Detroit and now his second home here in Cleveland, and what he's done to double down on sports facilities around Rocket Arena, how they've worked with us at the county to refresh that, and now they're working around the riverfront. I mean, you take what Dan Gilbert's doing around Rocket Arena and with the Bedrock Company's riverfront redevelopment, and you say to Haslam Sports Group, why not you guys? We can do the same with a stadium here, and you can build all around us, and we can actually have a really incredible waterfront city with the river and the lake. So that's kind of the questions we're in with these guys is when did you leave us? And I think our intuition is that this came down to money, and that they want as much public money into the facilities they can get, and they want to take as much profit out of the facility as they can get. And they're doing it in the future as they've proposed on the backs of fans. Ticket prices, parking prices, both going to be significantly higher than people are dealing with now. And you wonder at what point does a fan themselves get priced out of the experience?
What's the estimates right now? What are they looking at in terms of parking, in terms of ticket prices? Because me, as a season ticket holder, somebody who comes up from Columbus to the games, I'm interested in exactly what it's going to mean, because I think you're right. I think either plan, to be honest with you, whether you stay on the lakefront or even their plan down there in Brook Park, is going to result in a higher price tag for all us fans.
Exactly. And the dreaded PSLs are coming back out. I think you'd have to ask them specifically about what their ticket range is. Sure. What we've seen in the pro forma on the parking side is you're going to see parking north of $100, and then probably inching toward $150,
And that's for a regular season game. We're not talking about playoffs.
Exactly.
Should we ever host a playoff game, which hopefully we will in the next few years. But this is regular season game. This is even preseason game. You're looking at parking north of $100.
And, every time I get into the ticket prices, I get a call from Dave Jenkins who says, their chief operating officer, hey, they pay that now in the stadium. Well, there's the very, very expensive elite seating in the stadium, but let's look at what average ticket prices are going to cost. I mean, I think what you're looking at as a full package experience for a family is something north of $1,500 a day. Like in the average wages and the median income of this region, you're pricing everyday fans right out of the experience. And, intuitively to us, the downtown stadium at a renovation is half the price tag. They proposed to us a $1.2 billion facility here, and then that number immediately with Brook Park went up to 2.4 before they get to all the surrounds. So, to double the price tag and say, well, public, just come with us, for us, it's a non-starter. I mean, we want to do what's doable. We want to do what's reasonable, and that doable is downtown. The state of Ohio, as we speak, is down in Columbus finishing up the Senate side of the budget. My anticipation is that the Senate will agree with the House and bring forth about a $600 million package. I got a question, the Senate and the House, on this is, these are state tax dollars. These are these are everyday working people from 88 counties from out Ohio, that these dollars are going for the single-use facility. The question really for the state legislature, ultimately to the governor, because it's going to end up on his desk for either approval or veto, is it worth it? Is it worth it to stick it to your fans? Is it worth it to have this kind of, real, I think, sourness going on, the tug of war, the civil war that's going on in our town? Is it worth it? Why not come home to a plan that we could do on the lakefront in the historic home of the Cleveland Browns that's the center for everybody? I travel a bunch of counties around Northeast Ohio, and it doesn't matter if you're in Cuyahoga County, Lake County, Lorain County, Medina County, people, and not speaking for everybody, just speaking from the massive people that I hear from, the majority of people want to keep it downtown, So why are you doing this to us, legislature? Why are you saying to the locals, we're going to go against your own land use interests? We're going to go against what should be home rule, which is a technical term for giving cities the rights to determine how their land use plays out when the public's involved. If this was entirely private, it's not our place to say don't do it. But it is a public-private, quote-unquote, partnership. And you want half the money from us, and you bumped up the price twofold when you brought it to Brook Park. Again, we've said to the Haslam Sports Group, renovate what you got. It's a younger facility than Guardians and the Cavs have at Progressive and Rocket Arena. It's a younger facility. We know it needs some work. We know the exterior needs work, no question about it. But the structure of the facility, the bowl itself within, is sound. Get some more years on it, and then let's start talking about what you want to do with your future here downtown. I'm open to the domed idea downtown. We have talked to them as we sit right here on Burke in your studio of this very site that is buildable.
Of making us homeless here.
Yeah, I don't mean to do that to you, but I think you have a couple years left. But we could do something spectacular here. As I just traveled to see my nephew this weekend. Happy birthday to Casey. He was in Chicago, and went out to see him, and we went to a concert for his birthday. We went on Meigs Field. Meigs Field was the airport that Mayor Daley took out, right? And I talked to Mayor Daley from Chicago about this as one day, I walked him down to 9th Street. He was visiting City Hall, and my boss back then, and I took him to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a meeting. As we walked, he said, you got to get rid of that. I said, Mayor, you just did it with Meigs, easier said than done. But he paid back the bonds, and he got the job done, and he took it out. Everybody remembers the bulldozer scene, but the fact is you methodically paid off the bonds and got it done. The reason I bring it up in context is here I am last Thursday night with my nephew at a concert out of the Huntington Pavilion. It's ironic, the Huntington Field and the Huntington Pavilion. But and we're watching 5,000 people out watching a great band out on what was the former airport. And we're across the airport from Soldier Field, and in between us is a marina. That's what we've proposed as a second phase future for the Browns here. Imagine expanding the marina. Imagine having your dome stadium, or not your dome stadium, but a stadium here either way. And imagine having those hotels right here downtown. Versus imagine having it in a space that's frankly aviation and manufacturing. I mean, I just say it. I mean, the assumptions they're making on the apartment rents, they're saying they're going to get the same rents they get downtown at Brook Park when you're overlooking an airfield. You're taking in jet fumes. You're, you're having your barbecue on your balcony, and you're listening to air
747s
going over you, and sticking up the joint with their diesel fuel. So I say all that because there's a there right here in downtown. And we love the city of Brook Park. This has never been Cleveland versus Brook Park. This is about everybody's downtown. It really is. Whether you live in Brook Park, Bay Village, Westlake, Woodmere, wherever you are, this is everybody's downtown. But I think it's just got to, at this sort of right on the goal line, rethink this thing. Rethink this to do what's doable financially, to not fleece the public, to build something we can all be proud of in this region versus creating a civil war between us for decades to come. It's a generational decision. You can either make the right one or the wrong one.
Now, what do you say to people? I understand you've kind of put it on the Haslams as far as the plan down here, but you see it all over social media. You see what the Haslams have put out there. They're beautiful models of what they're going to build in Brook Park, and then you say, okay, Cleveland, what have we got? What is the counter to that? And there's really nothing right now.
Yeah, Chris, we've seen their plans as public sector officials. It's just one of these things. They invite you to a law firm, they show it to you, and then they pull it away. Be transparent about it. Show both plans to the public so the public has something to judge with their own tax dollars that are being asked of them.
And there's no way to get that.
I only saw one
today,
image.
We can't get it.
I saw one image got leaked out, and it was frankly not an image that was reflective of the entire development. It showed the facade, but the whole development needs to be shown. I just don't understand why Haslam Sports Group hides in the bushes on this one. I think they don't want to show it because it's so compelling. They're going to believe that people are going to like it, and that foils the plan for the profit center that Brook Park will be, but a real boondoggle for the public. I mean, again, I got a job as a county exec to watch over the treasury of Cuyahoga County, to protect taxpayers from getting fleeced, and to try to do the right thing regionally. And this is why I continue to come back to there's a home here, and the Cleveland Browns belong downtown. That's just how we've continued to argue that point. Obviously, there's been some that have argued the other point, like some members of the Cleveland Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Cleveland Partnership. But majority of people we talk to, the fans' choice is here. And I think the fans don't want to get soaked, and I think the fans deserve a balance of public-private partnership, not one that they get forced into to join a boondoggle with their taxpayer dollars.
Where do we go from here? Where do you go from here with the Haslams? Because what I understand is, back on the 15th or so, they sent you a letter, said basically we're doing this ourselves. And so where are we at in terms of the negotiation?
Well, that is an important point, that we're doing it ourselves, because if they decide to take their ball out to Brook Park, they said to us in a letter, to me personally, on May 15th, as you referenced, that we do not need county support to get this project done. That was a big statement that we are going to hold them to. You've seen how these things have played out in other regions. In Los Angeles, there was a facility that was paid for solely by the owner. In Washington, D.C., we most recently saw with the Commanders a 75% private portion of that private-public partnership. So I guess what I say to Haslam Sports Group is, don't come back to us. You said you don't need us. Don't come back to us. They said it in a letter that, frankly, was it was a pretty punchy letter, and the letter, alleged a lot of things, including that we've somehow not been forthcoming with facts. And I'm like, give me a break. First of all, be forthcoming with your plans for downtown that you never showed the public, and secondly,
they went after your poll numbers,
right?
They
did, and everything we said. We had a press conference March 19th of this year, and in that press conference, we urged the Legislative Service Commission, which is the fiscal analyst to the state Senate and House, and the Governor's Office of Budget Management. We urged those two agencies to opine on this project, and they both did, and they used the same words we use. In March, we used the words overly risky. Back 40 days later, they used the words overly risky. So for the Haslams to say that somehow our facts are off, go look at the independent bipartisan body that serves the state legislature and hear the facts, see the facts, read the facts. So it was a pretty audacious claim on their part. But then in that letter, they sort of, in a bit of a pouty way, said, we don't need your money. And okay, you don't need our money. We're going to hold you to it, because the money is the people's money, and we're gonna hold you to that. So I sense if the legislature does do what they are going to do, the Haslams are going to be faced with a choice. Are we going to pay the balance ourselves? Are we going to take that risk ourselves? Or are we going to get back to the drawing board with Cleveland? And I would say over and over again to Haslam Sports Group, this is nothing personal. Come home. Come home and have a conversation about what's doable and what we can do within our the public side of this partnership.
Chris Ronayne dropping the mic here.
Great
Thanks,
to be here.
Thanks for coming at Burke Lakefront Airport. We appreciate you and just your insights on lakefront development in general and this whole issue. Thank you for that.
Anytime. I really appreciate what you guys do. Appreciate the show and appreciate the the good social media with a good perspective, because there's a lot of perspectives out there, but we appreciate what you guys do.
Well, thank you so much. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Smart Choice Windows. Energy-efficient products at an affordable price. Visit smartchoicewindows.com today.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's Nick Padone for my friends at Northeast Factory Direct. I've got a little tip. If kitchen remodel is on your radar, you can skip the stress, skip the sticker shock, and go see my friends at Northeast Factory Direct. You'll be able to get a full 10x10 kitchen for just $2,600. That includes all the features that you actually want. Solid wood construction. We're talking soft closed drawers, full extension glides, and the latest design designer styles, not particle board junk or whatever the big box stores try to pass off at double the price. And here's the best part. You don't have to figure it out all by yourself. Northeast Factory Direct has an incredible team of kitchen designers who are able to make this process easy and seamless to you. You bring them the basic measurements. They will bring your dream kitchen to life using their big screen 3D rendering system. You see exactly what it's going to look like before you commit to anything. Before they start the project, you get to see what it looks like. It's fast, it's simple, it's free. There's no pressure, no sales pitch, just helpful people who actually know what they're doing. So go check them out today. Go to the nearest location, Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. You could set up the free design consultation online at northeastfactorydirect.com. When you're getting ready to check out, when you're getting ready to get your brand new kitchen for the summer, make sure to ask for that extra special Big Play bonus. You're going to get an extra hookup for listening to us here on the Big Play Sports Network.
Okay, gang. So obviously the Cavs season is over. The Browns are in a little bit of a slow period. So it seems like lately all the eyes have been on our Gardos and, catching up, getting to games. Does anyone have the ballpark pass?
No, I haven't done it yet this year.
Okay.
I did swear after opening day that I wouldn't step foot into that building until June 1st. I broke that promise. I went the last week of May. Friend of show, Ty Dillon, threw out the first pitch,
nice,
so I had to break my promise that I wouldn't be back in there. It is June, and it feels like the weather is finally somehow starting to turn around, so excited to get back into the ballpark a little bit.
Yeah, I'm in denial because I swear I haven't been to the ballpark yet on a warm day. I bring the jacket every time, guys. It's crazy.
And here we are in June, and we haven't had one of those days yet at the ballpark. It is kind of wild.
Well, we're a third of the way through the season, so let's do a little Guardians update here. Hope to see you at the ballpark. That ballpark pass, by the way, is pretty good. It's like $54. It's on sale right now for June. You get all the regular home games. You get a couple T-shirt Fridays in there, the Sugardale Dollar Dog Nights and all that. Fireworks is included. So check it out. But what grade would you guys give the team through the first third of the season, you think?
I'm going to cop out here and say incomplete. We haven't had Bieber back. We're getting Fry back. Starting to really kind of hit our stride a little bit here. So I will reserve my grade. Right now it'd be somewhere around a C, I would say, overall, because I think this is about what we expected, but I did expect them to be up there near the top of the division. Right now you're sitting 6 games back. It's not out of reach, obviously. It's still early, but still Detroit looks pretty good right now. Nate.
Yeah, I was going to give them a C as well. And that feels like a little bit of like a hater grade. And it's not me trying to give a hater grade here. It's just 6 games back from Detroit. Like, we know that we're better than Detroit. We know what happened in the playoffs last year. You got to make up that ground at some point. But until then, it's a C, and it is incomplete because you've looked at this team without David Fry, obviously not having Shane Bieber. Like, the starting rotation is incomplete. The lineup's incomplete. The bullpen is incomplete. So they're working through a lot of things. To be able to have a record well over 500 is an impressive feat of itself. So maybe I'll give it a C+.
I think it'll really help, as McNeil said, to get Fry going and Bieber. I'm sure it might take him some time to look like himself, and we're still like a month out from the prospect of that really happening. But really,
they were tempering expectations over the weekend. That,
Yeah.
hey, he's starting activities right now, but it's going to be a while for Bieber.
Right. So we have something to at least look forward to on the horizon. Who do you think has been the MVP of the team so far this season?
Well, it's got to be Jose. It's got to be Jose Ramirez here. He leads the team in home run, average, OPS, RBI, runs. The only reason he's not number 1 in hits is because he doesn't bat number 1. That would be Steven Kwan. I think Steven's got 71, and right now Jose's got 69 right up there in number of hits. So he's leading this team both on the field, off the field. He's the cheerleader for us in the clubhouse. So Jose Ramirez is my pick there.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything starts and finishes with Jose Ramirez. The Guardians wouldn't be really worth talking about if they didn't have Jose Ramirez. It's crazy to say, but he means that much to their success on a nightly basis. So Jose's the MVP forever and always.
How important is that chase with the Tigers right now? Because I know we still have 2/3 of the season to go, but I think it would be very comforting for a lot of fans to make it feel like we're hacking away right now.
Yeah, but these games all count the same, so you definitely want to make up ground, and you can't fall back much further than what you're at right now. Who would have thought by the way, the American League Central, which is typically the punching bag of baseball. And everybody talks about how it's historically this bad, downtrodden organization. I mean, look at the Guards, 6 games back, but still a good 6 games above 500. The Twins, the Royals right there as well. Like, so many good teams in the American League Central. So catching the Tigers will be that much more important. If you could win the best division in baseball, I like your chances in the postseason, just like we saw last year.
But they're going to be tough to catch. I'll tell you what, for this Guardians squad. So we'll see once those guys come back and once we really get rolling, what we can do through the summer to catch those Tigers.
Thanks again to our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Infinity. Luxury experiences for those who dare to be different. Visit infinityofbeechwood.com today.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. It is time for our weekly check-in with Ty Dillon. Ty races for Northeast Ohio's own Matt Collig. Matt fields 2 teams in the NASCAR Cup Series, 3 teams in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ty drives the number 10 Chevy for the Collig Racing team in the Cup Series. Ty, what's going on? You've been a well-traveled man, and most importantly, coming fresh off of your first pitch here in Cleveland, coming fresh off of the whole couple of days here in Northeast Ohio. Welcome on back into Big Play Cleveland, and what were your initial thoughts on the city after being able to spend a couple of days up here?
Yeah, first time in the city, and I had a great time. Those couple of days were super fun. Traveling around, being at the Guardians game, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Went to the I Promise School, LeBron James I Promise School, and then we ended it at Denzel Ward's football camp there. It was a fun week. It was a very packed week. I think I got home on Thursday and I just took like a 2.5-hour nap, which it was like, I felt like that nap was needed for more than just a couple weeks. Like it had been storing up for a couple months, but I was pretty worn out, but it was such a fun trip. Being able to go, first of all, just seeing the city of Cleveland, being so involved with everything there, and then hanging out with our team owner, Matt Collig, and seeing all the things that he's involved with Collig Giving and then Collig Companies as well. It was super fun. And then we were also, out there kind of promoting the Collig Companies Championship that's coming up, that we're going to be out there in a couple more weeks. So I'll be right back out there with you guys. And then they were off to Nashville this weekend for the race. And so it's been a busy week for sure.
Yeah, colliggolf.com, the way to get your tickets to the golf outing. Ty, we're getting you back up here. Now you weren't here for it last year, correct? Because it is a big party that they put on at Firestone.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't there last year. Everybody's been talking up, especially when we were on the trip. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there. It's going to be a good time. Looking forward to getting out on the golf course too. I think we're going to play in the Pro-Am. So maybe my golf game will be, I don't know if it's going to be much better than my first pitch, but there's a chance to redeem myself a little bit.
For sure. We'll flex the NASCAR athleticism skills that we know you possess and some of your opposition does not have. We'll get some work in with Jimmy Hanlon and Joe Meglin, who are going to be with us at the Big Play side out at Firestone. It's nice that we got a couple PGA guys in our corner, so they can show you a couple things. Like if they could get me right, they could get you right before Firestone.
For sure, help tighten up the game a little bit, be dialed in for everybody there at Firestone.
All right, so this week we were at Nashville Super Speedway. Started the race from the 31st spot, playing with a little bit of a pit strategy early to finish 26th. Talk to us a little bit about this strategy and how you're able to run as high as 4, when you have such a odd kind of far behind starting position.
Yeah, starting so far back is never a good thing for our sport. It's very hard to pass at this level, hard to drive up through the field, especially at a place like Nashville. It's what we call kind of a one-lane racetrack. It's very hard to get off the bottom of the racetrack and make passes. You'll see occasionally on restarts. That's why our restarts in NASCAR are probably the most exciting thing in sports, where everybody gets really aggressive, and that's where you see a lot of the crashing. But once it kind of gets strung out, it's very difficult to pass. The air off the car in front of you just disturbs your downforce so much that you have to be so much better to be able to make a pass that it's very rare to do so. So you're relying heavily on pit strategy. You're relying heavy on your restarts, which we had good restarts. We kind of fell back through some of our strategy. We were taking some shots to try to jump some more track position, get some positions by being a little off sequence by the way that we strategized. It didn't quite work out early, but we battled to a decent finish. I feel like our team expects a little bit more after the speed that we had. But overall, it wasn't a terrible day. We improved on our start, but we definitely think we probably deserved a little bit more out of that day. But it's not something we go back and we're all frustrated about. There's definitely a lot of positives that we build off of, and we'll get better for next weekend in Michigan.
All right. Well, you just said it this week. We're heading to Michigan, back up here with us in the Midwest. It's a place where you have 12 starts at the track in the Cup Series. Talk to us a little bit about how you can use what happened last week, even though it wasn't the finish that you were looking for, and try to spin that into some positive momentum coming here into Michigan.
Yeah, for sure. Our team president, Chris Rice, speaks a lot about activity, right? Like, we're more concerned about the activity of the race than sometimes the results. Obviously, results are good and help a lot of things, but the activity is what we like to focus on. Our activity in the races has been good. We've been moving forward. We've had fast cars. Our results haven't really shown that all year. We've definitely got to fix that. But I think going into every single race this year, we feel like, since our activity on the track throughout the race has been so strong, when we put it together, we're going to have a really good day. Michigan's a track that I've had good success at over the years. It's one of the fastest racetracks we go to. I know I was asked a lot when we were there in Cleveland doing some media stuff, like, what's the fastest you've ever been? And it was at Michigan International Speedway. Now, we don't go that fast now, but I went 217 there one time with some different rules packages, cold early in the morning. When the racetrack's cold, that's probably when it's usually the fastest. We're a little bit more in the summertime now, but it's a fun, big, fast racetrack. It'll be exciting racing, and I'm looking forward to getting out there.
Well, pull for our guy, Northeast Ohio native Matt Colleague and Colleague Racing's Ty Dillon, joining us on the Big Play Cleveland Show. Make sure to go show him some love on social media. Throw him a follow at Ty Dillon. He was up here in Cleveland last week throughout the first pitch at the Guardians game. Coming back this coming June for the Colleague Companies Championship Golf out there in Akron at Firestone. Ty, appreciate you joining us on the Big Play Cleveland Show, and we will catch up next week after Michigan.
All right. Thanks, Nick. We'll see you guys later. See you next week.
We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It is time for our Fill in the Blank segment, brought to you by our friends at Pure AV. They specialize in sales, service, and installation of a variety of smart home technologies. They really do it all. They can help you get the perfect sports watching setup with their high-performance audio and video displays. They even offer hidden audio and video options that allow you to keep a clean, elegant interior without sacrificing your favorite technology. Pure AV can set you up with invisible architectural speakers that are hidden in your walls and ceilings, as well as disappearing TVs that vanish behind art or mirrors. Visit pureavcorp.com today to see everything that they can offer for your home. All right, gang, MLB All-Star voting opens on Wednesday. The Guardians should have blank All-Stars this year.
I think it's going to be two. I think it's going to be Jose. I think it's going to be Quan, and I think that's going to be it off of this squad. I don't see anybody out of the bullpen this year, and I don't see any of our starters making it on the All-Star squad.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of par for the course for how this season has started, and maybe somebody, while the All-Star voting is open, could catch fire, and maybe some recency bias could trickle in with like a Carlos Santana, if you will, or somebody like that. But I do believe, Jose and Quan are the musts, and anybody else would be very nice added bonuses.
Yeah, it feels like kind of a little bit of a slumper for us, just riding that high of last season, having 5. Yeah. But definitely a deserving 2 there in Quan and Jose. The Guardians' next 3 series are against the Yankees, Astros, and Tito, the Reds. If you could guarantee one sweep, I would most like to see the Guardians sweep.
There's only one answer. It's got to be the Yankees, right?
Yeah, come on.
Absolutely, 100%. It's got to be New York. They ran us out of the playoffs last year. Perennially, they're the team that I hate the most.
God,
so,
we hate the
give me
Yankees. God.
Absolutely.
And we're talking so much about catching the Tigers. You want to catch the Tigers so you could get back to the playoffs. Well, once you're in those playoffs, it's about beating the Yankees so you could get to the World Series. So it's got to be New York.
Okay, let's do NBA here. Have you guys been still kind of watching along? The NBA Finals are set. The blank will win in blank games, you think?
So OKC has home field throughout the playoffs here, or throughout the finals here. I like the Pacers, Nick. I like what they've done. I think that they're going to keep it up. I think it's going to be a really, really competitive finals, and I think it's going to be a good one for TV. Even though you don't have the name brands that I know the NBA would like to see, I think it's going to be very competitive, but I see the Pacers coming out on top.
All righty. Wow. Would the Pacers beating OKC in the playoffs make you feel better or worse about the Cavs?
Better.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't for me. No. I'd love to play that transitive property of like they beat us and then they went on to win it, but no, it doesn't make me feel any better. There's still a lot that the Cavs need to do on our side that I don't worry about us looking a certain way. I just want us to get better and stronger for next season.
I think the fans, myself included, could kind of sell ourselves on at least you ran into the champs 2 years in a row. You know, at least Boston won the championship last year. Indy won the championship.
Ultimate participation ribbon right there,
Chris,
Nick.
Well,
exactly,
it
because it's a
doesn't feel
blown
good, but-
opportunity. That just goes to say that's 2 years in a row where it could have been you. Had you gotten out of the second round, you could have been in the NBA Finals. So I'm right there with you. It doesn't bring me any solace. And I actually don't think the Indiana Pacers are even going to win this series, which really highlights how much work the Cavs need to do. Oklahoma City Thunder have been a buzzsaw all throughout the regular season, quietly the best team from game 1 of 82 and then through the postseason as well. So give me the Thunder winning this NBA Finals in 5 games.
That's super interesting. I feel like it would be a testament to the fact that the Pacers really have been a force to be reckoned with. And Halliburton, Siakam, this whole team has surprised me. And to see them win, you're right, it doesn't really mean anything at the end. But it does make me feel like, okay, we were playing the best of
sports.
Yeah, you know. Who are you rooting for? You guys kind of said that. Who you're rooting for? OKC, Pacers?
It doesn't matter to me who wins it.
Me neither.
More
Don't care.
or less, I just think the Pacers.
I'm also too I'm locked in on the offseason. How the Cavs going to move off Jared
fair.
Allen? That's front of mind for me.
Are they going to move off of Jared Allen? You think that's going to happen?
I think this has to be the year, Chris. You look at these 4 centers remaining. Miles Turner, better than Jared Allen. How about Thomas Bryant, who the Pacers bring off the bench, better than Jared Allen? Isaiah Hartenstein's better than him. Chet Holmgren's better than him. You need a 5 that could space the floor. That's Evan Mobley. You got him on the roster. Get J.A. out of town and find somebody that fits this core better.
He wanted to get that off his chest. That's our final remarks of Big Play Cleveland, unless you got something, McNeil.
Nope.
That's it.
See you next week.
See you next
We'll
week.
see you next week. Special thanks again to our friends at Pure AV.